If you remember the game River City Girls, it's not that old. It's a surprisingly good beat-em-up game. They're making a sequel, River City Girls Zero. In fact, it's already out. I believe you can get it on the Switch right now. If you really wanted to play the game, you could pick it up. Now, the reason I'm doing this video is because, well, there's 2 translations in the game, and there's a little bit of controversy surrounding them. You can get the Americanized translation. That's what I'm going to call it, because that's what it is. It's basically an Americanized translation of the game, like most of the translations you see for games or even anime in a lot of cases. Instead of like, so when stuff comes from Japan, right, and if it's messaging has some rare Japanese flower or food or joke in the translation, a lot of the times the localizers will take liberties with that and Americanize it so that like the joke is more relatable to an American audience. So you have that translation. Then they have a literal translation where it's literally translated word for word, which people like myself enjoy. I like a literal translation. I don't like it when people inject political opinions or agenda into subtitles. In fact, I read the subtitles if I watch an anime because I don't want that shit, because a lot of the times that's what you're going to get. Funimation has done it several times as a really good example, and there's also several video games out there that have shitty translations as well, where localizers have injected their own political opinion into the translation. And Western localizers are very upset about this. They're very, very mad that this is being done. And the reason they're mad about it is because they don't want more misinformation about what their jobs are. I believe I explained it rather well, actually. That's what localizers try to do. And to be fair, there's some good games that are translated, and I'm not saying all translations are bad, but there clearly are quite a few Japanese imported games that get a localized translation, and political opinions and political identity politics will be injected. And people don't want that. And if you complain about it, well, of course, you're a bigot. Literally, one of the guys that talks about this calls people that complain about it alt-right. I just find it funny how thin-skinned these localizers are when people call them out on their bullshit. And I find it even more hilarious how butthurt they are about the fact that there's 2 English options for this game. So here's kind of the original take. This is WayForward, the developer. What's the difference between English New and English Literal? New has the characters speak a bit more like they did in RCG1. Literal is as direct a translation as possible. I actually like this option quite a bit. I think that, honestly, I think all games should have this. You should have the literal translation, and you should have the more Americanized one, because sometimes literal can be confusing, especially if you don't know everything in Japan. But anyway, like, so this is a good thing, and I wish it would trend, but localizers don't like that. So here comes a lot of the whining and crying. Right here, you can see some of it saying, "Oh, it's okay what we do." This guy's mad about translations. I don't want to go over his tweets too much. The one that I thought was really funny was this guy. So his credits include 428 and the first 3 Yakuza games. And his meltdown is pretty humorous. So this is the other guy talking about it, and then his response is this: "I clicked on this thinking, I wonder how many people who aren't translators are going to bitch about the use of creative here. And it was basically the entire thread. Kind of glad my translation career is over because we have the most ungrateful fans in the whole damn world." Because you are being creative when you change it to Americanize it. And it's not a literal translation anymore. I'm not saying that it's totally bad either, because sometimes it can be necessary, at least for a dubbed version of something. But what people don't like is when you change it and put political shit in it. Like in that Funimation anime where they referenced Gamergate. I don't remember what it was from. This is from a while ago. But like, if you looked in the subtitled version, that wasn't in there at all. But it sure as hell was in the dub. Because I want to see a list of all these games supposedly infected by the translators' personal politics epidemic. For as much as I hear alt-right gamers drop this accusation, I've literally seen it in person, which I realize probably means it's BS, like most alt-right nonsense. But so how is this guy? Look at this. Because the creativity usually sucks, nobody wants to hear the translators' attempts at comedy or their political opinions. People want to know what the original said, and I agree with that. People get creative, and it doesn't work because a lot of these people just aren't funny. A lot of them are pretty woke, to be honest. Like this guy seems to be. Of course, Fire Emblem Fates. The effing Benghazi of online arguments about video game translations. Like, yeah, the localization job of Fire Emblem Fates was a disaster. It also was half a decade ago and almost never germane to the discussion at hand other than to exemplify translation bad. Yeah, I'll be humble and take down bad faith criticism for people who don't know the first thing about how this job works to heart. All I have really say is this: translation is inherently creative endeavor, as much as an art as it is a science. Localization is not a dirty word. It's not a conspiracy to ruin your Japanese media experience, and the alt-right acts in bad faith. So this got way forward to change the way they're doing this. Now, they didn't change it much, but they have it like, we hear you, literal was a poor word choice and not intended the way it was taken. So in the next River City Girls Zero update and all remaining versions, the 2 English translations will be labeled RCG and original. These terms better reflect our intent for localization. I don't think they did anything wrong. I think it's kind of cool that they offer the 2 versions. I disagree that this is supposed to be a creative job. You can do a literal translation and Americanize it and stay true to the original intention without injecting your shit. I don't have a list in front of me, but there's for sure a bunch of games that have had like capitalism bad and all this shit put in their translations that nobody asked for. Nobody asked for it. And that is ruining the experience. People want the Japanese media because they don't want a lot of the American stuff. They don't want it anymore. This is why anime and manga are exploding in popularity. It's one of the reasons anyway. And I know this is a video game, but it still comes from Japan and it's being localized. Anyway, I just thought this was funny. The guy literally just made a literal translation. Who cares? It's really not that big of a deal. If anything, I commend it, and I like that there's 2 options. But, of course, localizers, because everybody knows most of them are woke jerks like that guy was being towards the people that were talking to him. That is how people see them. Arrogant. Big egos. Because they work on these properties and literally have nothing to do with them other than screwing up the job they're supposed to do right in the first place, which is give people a direct translation. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, make sure to follow me over on Twitch. I do watch parties, play video games over there. They're always fun. Follow me over there and come hang out. Also, make sure you subscribe to YellowFlash, my other channel. There's a link to that in the description as well. I do a lot of live streams over there that I don't do on this channel. Usually smaller and a little bit more personal. So make sure you follow me over there and sign up.